video, we're going to give you a quick overview of our new fabrication tool, the Cage Gage, and then we're going to show you how to use it to build a door bar in our race car project. The Cage Gage is the roll cage fabrication tool for the do-it-yourself cage builder. Whether you built 10 cages or you're just working on your first one, the Cage Gage will speed up your design time, reduce your guesswork, and most importantly, the Cage Gage will help you reduce your scrap and your waste. With DOM tubing costing anywhere between $4.75 and $6 a foot, a scrapped main hoop or door bar starts to add up pretty quick. Your average main hoop is going to be approximately 9 or 10 feet of material. And you better be using DOM tubing for your cage build. Save money elsewhere, but please don't get cheap on your cage build. So what really separates the Cage Gage from any other angle finder or protractor tool on the market is your ability to use the Cage Gage to duplicate and model actual bends and sections of your roll cage for exact fitment before you ever bend a piece of steel tubing. PVC is extremely cheap, and like I just mentioned, DOM tubing is not. So for about $5, you can have enough PVC to model just about anything you'd want when building a roll cage. So instead of just winging it, you'll actually have a well-laid plan for your build. The main components are made from 6061 aluminum and are CNC machined right here by us in the good old USA. The range of motion is 0 to 100 degrees, and it's engraved from 0 to 100 in 2-degree increments, and we also added the 45-degree mark. To make your life a little easier, we also engraved a handy little cheat sheet right on the arm so you can calculate the length of your tube that you'll need to make the bend. We'll go over all this in a little bit further detail in just a minute when we make our door bar. Also, another neat little feature we designed in the Cage Gage is the ability to use it for a 5.5-inch bend radius or a 6.5-inch bend radius, so you can model the two most popular bend radii with only buying one tool. You simply loosen the flathead screw and rotate the riser block 180 degrees . Flip the PVC cup to the other side of the block, and you're in business. So that's the basics of the Cage Gage. Let's go build something. So this is our project car. This is a 4th generation Camaro, 1996 actually. The cage is all done except for the door bars, which I saved for last because I'm lazy and I didn't want to crawl over the door bars every time we had to do something in the car. As you can see, I already got the top bar built. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to shoot some video to show building another door bar. In the past, for anybody that's done any cage work, door bars especially can be tricky. We've used everything from coat hangers to welding rod to voodoo and seances to try to make door bars fit, and usually you end up doing them once or twice over. So anyways, we're going to do this two ways. The first way I'm going to show you with one Cage Gage. We'll get a door bar laid out. And then the second way is we're going to do it with 2 Cage Gages. Okay guys, here we are. I got my notepad ready to write down my measurements as I go. I prefer to do that. Just a little disclaimer, I am left-handed. I've been accused of doing things kind of unorthodox and weird, but this way works well for me, and I think this is probably how most people do it. So here's one Cage Gage. As you can see, when you'll hear me refer to the tangents of the bends. Well, obviously now there's no bend. This is just straight, 0 degrees. As you start making a bend, the tangent point will be where the bend starts and stops, which is your inside points here. These blocks are 1 inch thick, just for reference. I've already been playing with this since the top door bar is built. The Cage Gage does come with 2 short sections of PVC to get you started, but I would encourage you, like I said, PVC is so cheap, it makes it a whole lot easier. So this is the piece from the top bar. It should be pretty darn close to use on the second bar. Usually front down bars and main hoops have a little bit of an angle to them, so your door bars usually are not 100% symmetrical between bar to bar. So I'm going 6.5 inches center to center. I already have it marked out on my front down bar. So now using one cage gauge, I just come in and I'm essentially just eyeballing where I want it to be straight and in line with the top bar. So it looks pretty good there. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it down. And this is way easier with 2 people. So if you don't have friends, you better buy 2 cage gauges. And I'm just use a fixed reference point. In this case, I'm going to go right off of the striker plate. And I'm right at 25.5 inches. So my notepad, I'm going to write my front down bar, my main hoop. I know I'm going to end up with a straight, and a straight. And I know for my fixed point on the striker plate, I know to the tangent of where my first bend is going to end, that was 25.5 inches. And for an angle, we're at 12, 14, 16, we're right at 19 degrees. While I'm here, I'll measure the front bar. I'm exactly 20 inches, and that's including the notch. Now moving on to the last half of the door bar, I'm going to have a little shorty piece. And same thing, I have my 6.5 inch center line already marked on my main hoop. So I'm going to come out flush to the existing door bar. Same thing, this is where friends come in handy. So I knew I was at 25.5 on my last measurement to the tangent of the straight. So getting everything lined back up. I'm at 10 3/4. See, for my angle, I'm exactly at 36 degrees. And for my last piece of straight, including the notch, is 8 inches. I'm going to go grab a calculator and we can do some math. All right, I have a calculator. Now we can do some math. So I had 25.5 minus 10 3/4. So I know my straight section between the bends has to be 14 3/4. Now, if you remember me telling you about the handy little feature that we have engraved right on the cage gauge for figuring out the length of bend calculation. Now, this is a 6.5 inch radius. As you can see, I have the end blocks extended for a 6.5. So for a 6.5 inch radius, it's 1.15 inches per 10 degrees of bend. So my first bend is 19 degrees. So it's 1.15 times 1.9. If I knew how to use a calculator. 1.15 times 1.9. So it's approximately 2.185, but it's round up to 2 3/16. So it takes 2 3/16 of an inch of material to do a 19-degree bend, and that's to the center line. So over here we had 36 degrees, so same thing again, 1.15 times 3.6, and that gives me 4.14. So that's close enough. Again, I'll round up to 4 3/16. I'd rather have a little bit too much material than not enough, because once it's too short, it doesn't get any longer. So if we add everything up, 20 inches plus 2 3/16 plus 14 3/4 plus 4 3/16 plus 8. So we come up with 49 1/8. That's the total length of material we need to make the second door bar. And I'm a big chicken, so I'll cut it at 50. I almost forgot to show you two cage gauges. I got all excited and did the math, and I was ready to go make a door bar. But let's use two first. So I got the second one set up for a 6.5 inch radius, and I should have everything here cut. Just assemble it and set it at the right angle, and we should have a door bar. So this one's still set for 36. This one needs to be set for 19. So another thing, when you're assembling the PVC into the receivers, you want to press it in there pretty firm so it doesn't move around on you. And also, if you're using two cage gauges, you want them to be even with each other. So an easy way to do that is just put it on the ground and just push them flat. And there might be some scenarios where you actually are doing a compound bend and you actually want it at a different angle. All right, let's see how this fits. So pretty much, as long as you can cut PVC, you can make door bars. You can take this right back to the bender with you. You have a complete one-to-one example of what you're trying to do. Pretty straightforward. All right, we're ready to make these bends. Just a couple more points to bring up before I go hop on the bender. I laid this out with the starting and end points of where the theoretical start and end should be for the tangents of the bends. So we'll see how accurate it is and how well it comes out. I guess if it makes a liar out of me, you guys aren't going to see this because I'm just going to have to edit it out of the video. But I'm pretty confident it's going to be right. I marked our 50-inch point of where we need to cut it. Again, this is our center section at 14 3/4. And you still have to know your bender. If you haven't used your bender very much, you should do a test bend. And you can see, usually the face of the die is not actually where it starts bending. So that's just something to be aware of. It depends on what brand bender you're using. Like mine, I did a test bend and I cut a little notch into it, so I know exactly to start my bend, I have to line up my Sharpie mark right on that notch. All right, here we are. Just finished the bends on the door bar, the 19 degrees and the 36 degrees. I'm happy with how they came out. So let's see how we did here. As you can see, the tangents line up pretty darn close. I have the cage gauge very carefully balanced on top of the door bar just to see how we did. If we move over here, that was the 50-inch mark. And if you recall, it was a big chicken, and I left about an extra inch of material total past where we needed to be. And sure enough, there's probably half, maybe 5/8 of an inch left over on this side, or at the 50-inch mark. Let's check out our 36-degree bend. Looks pretty good. Our tangents line up really nice. You see, this one was, this section was 8 inches, and I left a little bit extra on that end as well. And sure enough, we got about an extra ½ inch or so. So as you can see, the math really does work. The cage gauge is extremely easy to use, but you get excellent results. So let's notch this thing and we'll see how it fits. All right, well, I got it all notched up. Took me a couple shots. Again, I prefer just to sneak up on it, and if I got to take off an extra 1/8 of an inch a couple times, that's fine with me. I'd rather do that than cut it too short. But so again, I got the cage gauge laid back over top of the tubing as carefully as I could. As you can see, it's pretty darn close. It's pretty much spot on to what it was telling us we needed. Here's the end there, looking pretty good. So that's it. Let's go install it in the car and see how it looks. All right, we're going to get this door bar slid into place here. It fits pretty nice. Just have to give it a light tap into place. All right, that's it, guys. It's that easy. That's our middle door bar done. All I got to do now is just finish the third door bar, and then we can button this thing up. Well, I hope you found this video really helpful and informative about the cage gauge and what we're doing here. If you want any more information, please check out our website, cagegage.com, CAGEGAGE.com, or go like our Facebook page too. That's facebook.com/Cage Gage. We try to post some of our stuff on there, what we're doing, what we're fabricating, what we're building. So that's it. I guess we're going to try to do some more videos in the future. maybe cover a couple topics like laying out an A-pillar bar with the cage gauge, or even maybe laying out a main hoop. So please, questions, comments, feel free to send them to us. Thanks a lot.